Hello boys and girls, my name's Joyce and what we're going to do today is the Holiday Bible Club craft. Now, I know you've been learning about mountains that Jesus went up. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a 3D mountain, a three-dimensional mountain today. So what do you need to do that? Well, you're going to need some card to start with. Okay, so this is just a piece of card. Really, it's one I cut from one of the many boxes that have arrived in our house over the last few months. It doesn't have to be circle. It can be a random sort of shape like that, okay? So that should be fine. And it's quite thick card, so that's a good solid base for your mountain. The other thing you're going to need is newspaper. So we've got some newspaper here. Now, this is the Belfast Telegraph, so just give you a rough idea of what you need. So why you need this is to make the actual structure of the mountain. So I'll tell you how to do that in a minute. You also need some PVA glue, a paintbrush, some masking tape, it's a very useful thing to have in the house, some wallpaper paste which we can use later. I'll show you what to do with that. And then plastic container, you might need a couple of these as well, so you're recycling things as well with this, and some newspapers cut up into strips as well, which I'll show you what to do later on. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the structure of the mountain, so we're going to build it up. And how I thought we could do this was to make these newspaper balls, okay? So we're going to need big ones and then smaller ones. Now, depending on what size you want your mountain to be, I guess you probably need maybe 15 of the bigger ones, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more, depending on how high you want your mountain to be. Maybe 10 of the smaller ones. Now, to make the bigger ones, you need 2 sheets of paper. So you get 2 sheets of the Belfast Telegraph. And what you want to do is scrunch it up, okay? Now this is why I am wearing these blue gloves. It's not because of coronavirus, it's because I don't want to get newsprint all over my hands, because making a mountain is quite messy. So you'll just do that, and then to hold everything together, that's what you need. That's why you need the masking tape. So you take the masking tape and you wrap it around the scrunched up paper so it's nice and firm. And then you've made your newspaper ball. And the same for the little one, you just use 1 sheet instead of 2. So what we do then is we start to build up our mountain. So I have a whole pile of these here in this box, which I'm going to use. And we're going to cover our base with PVA glue. Now you're going to need quite a lot of PVA glue. It's quite fun actually squeezing this out. Oh, there we go. Lots of PVA. Now, I don't know, I might need a little bit more than that. Yeah. Okay. And this is where the paintbrush comes in, because you're going to have to paint the base. Now, mountains, as you know, are all different. Jesus went up mountains because they were really good places to pray. Mountains are dark places, they're quiet places, and whenever Jesus wanted to get away from the crowds, he spoke to people for a long time, he helped people, he was quite tired and he needed to get strength from God. So he went up mountains just to pray to God, to be with his Father, and just to spend time with him to gain strength from him. And mountains were very important places for Jesus. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to build a mountain, okay? So what you do is you push on the bigger bits. So I would use the bigger ones first, okay, and squash them on there. Now you'll need plenty of glue. I think maybe a little bit more would be better there. Okay, lots of glue. This is good. This is quite good fun. So that's our first layer. And mountains sometimes get a little bit lower as you go down, so you can put a few smaller ones at the bottom. Remember, mountains can be that shape, but then they can level off gradually, can't they? So we'll just keep going here, please. Okay, here we are. We've got the mountain made. Brilliant. Just pushing it together, making sure there's plenty of glue. Okay. And then you need to leave it overnight to dry. This mountain takes more than 1 hour to make. Okay, you have to make it over a couple of days. So it's 24 hours later and the glue has dried. So our mountain is nice and solid. And we're going to do the pavlova test. Okay, this is whenever you turn it upside down, okay, and it all stays together. Okay, so you know it's ready to go on to the next stage. So for the next stage of making your mountain, what you need is some wallpaper paste, a bowl, plastic container with a brush, and you need strips of newspaper, probably about 30 centimetres or maybe slightly longer than a ruler, depending on how high your mountain is. So I've got lots of those. So basically all we do then is we start to put the wallpaper paste, which I've already made here, on the paper balls here, and just paint them on. Paint on the wallpaper paste. And I'm sure maybe you've done things like this in school, maybe with papier-mâché. And that's another thing, you can use, you know, flour and water for this if you've done papier-mâché before, or just get your mum or dad to look up Google and ask, you know, how you do papier-mâché. It's easy enough with flour and water. I just thought wallpaper paste was maybe a wee bit less messy. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting on the paper on the top. I'll just put maybe a little bit of wallpaper paste just over that. So you really want to soak your paper with the wallpaper paste. I'm just thinking you probably should put a little bit on the back as well, just to make it really wet. So I'll just do that, maybe to start to paint on the wallpaper paste onto the paper, and then put it down onto the paper balls, and then more on the top, just so that you're getting a nice coverage of all the paper balls. And what you want to do is work your way around your mountain until it's completely covered. Turn that off now. So we've waited overnight, and it's about maybe 24 hours later, and we've put all the paper on, the strips of paper with the wallpaper paste, and we've got a nice smooth mountain here. And what I've done is I've actually painted around the bottom part of the cardboard green. So what we're going to do now is we're going to paint the main part of the mountain. So you can paint it any colour you want to. Obviously grey maybe, but maybe you want to be a bit more exciting and put different colours on it, that's fine. I think I'm going to do maybe some grey bits, some purple bits maybe, and some green bits possibly, because different mountains have different colours, and all mountains do look different. It depends what's growing on them, so you can decide what way you want it, or maybe you want to do it multicoloured, or do whatever you want, you decide. So we're just going to start to paint, and then I'm going to show you about the final thing we're going to do, and that's to put something on the top of the mountain. Okay, that's great. So I'm just finishing off painting my mountain here. Now I'm using this big thick paintbrush here for actually painting walls, because it was actually easier to use it, and much more paint goes on at one time, so it won't take you as long. So if you can ask an adult just to get you maybe a brush that size, or even bigger, would probably be fine, and it'll speed up the process of painting it much more. So I'm just finishing off. I painted it in the end. I painted it purple and green because I started painting it purple and thought actually the purple looked quite well on it. And you know, purple's a really good colour to paint this mountain because this mountain is really to remind us of Jesus. And purple was a colour worn by kings in Jesus' time. And of course Jesus is our king. So when I look at this, I think of Purple Mountain, where Jesus went up to pray to his Father. Purple's a great colour. And I added a little bit of green in as well, just for grass and things. And also, you know, in this country, we were in the mountains last week. We were up Slieve Donard. And there's actually a lot of purple plants. It's called heather, and they grow, purple plants called heather. It grows on the mountains in this country, and it makes them look really beautiful as well. So that's the mountain. It's almost done. I just have to do another little purple bit here, and then I think we're almost finished painting it. I'll just check there's no white bits. Okay, so I think that's it done. Great. Now I'll just put my brush down. Now the last thing I want to do is I want to do something and put on the top. Now you have a memory verse to learn, and one of your memory verses this week is from John 1:14. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. And of course, who are they talking about? They're talking about Jesus. And I thought it'd be a really good thing if we could put the memory verse on the top of the mountain. And then I was thinking, how could we do that? Well, whenever we went up Slieve Donard last week, what was on the top of Slieve Donard? A Liverpool flag. And I just thought, imagine a Liverpool flag. What on earth is that doing on top of the mountain? Well, my husband was quite pleased actually, because he's a Liverpool fan. I don't know what you are, but anyway, it gave me an idea about putting a flag on top of the mountain with the memory verse on it. So I'm going to show you how to make it. So you're going to have to put a hole at the top, the very, very top, because when when most people go up a mountain, if it's really high like Mount Everest, the first people who went up Mount Everest put a flag from their country on the top of the mountain, and that's what people do. So I thought, right, okay, the very top bit's here. So I'm using this skewer. Now you'll need an adult to help you with this. So what you want to do is put in the skewer and push it down, okay? Well, I've done this before, obviously, before I painted it, so you might find it easier to do it then. Okay, so you're making a little hole there. And what this is just a barbecue skewer thing, so you can just use that. It's a little wooden one you can get in Tesco or the butchers or somewhere. I got that one at the butchers. And what we're going to do is we've written the memory verse on the paper, and so we just want to loop it around the paper, and then we can stick it with some sellotape just to keep it in place, like so. And we'll just turn it down. Yeah, that's great. And we have made ourselves a flag. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it on the top, and there we go. And that is our finished mountain. Bye.